Okay, you've heard me talk about the challenges that we face in the city in terms of financially in the budgets as we're coming up to you consider all of our options for next year's budget. And so I did an interview on one of the local radio stations a couple of days ago, and people have contacted me to say, you know, they really found it incredible how much money was spent on different services and how we were going to manage. And for me, that was really crucial that we got the message across to you about how not only how difficult things were going to be, but also about how we're going to make those decisions, why we're going to make those decisions, and to show to you the amounts of money that we have available to us, and also the amounts of money that we're going to have reduced to us in order to spend on services. So what I wanted to do is introduce to you some charts that just actually show the amount of money we get in and where it's spent. So it gives you an idea of the tough choices that we are considering. Okay, so this first slide that you're going to see, on the chart, if you can see that council tax figure there of £118 million, that's the amount of income that we receive directly from you in your council tax payments. Now, the next chunk of that is £201 million, and that's what we class as other income. That comes from things like revenue from licence fees, car parking fees, car parking fines. That sort of income is generated, and that amounts to 201 million. But if you look at the big chunk in red there, you'll see that that's £1,012 million, and that's the amount of money that we receive from central government, and it's actually used to pay for, in the main, services like school teachers' wages and the things that we have to do, which are called mandatory things, the things that we have to do that are in statutes from government, the things that we are responsible to do. But what I'm trying to get across to you and to the people within the city is that the money that we've had reduced by governments over the previous 3 years and over the next 3 years amounts to 56% of what we can spend, our controllable spend, and we've had that reduced by 56%. So the council has a turnover of £1,331 million, but it's as I said, we have and I keep reminding you, and we'll make no apologies for doing so, we rely on total funding from the government of 76%, and the main issue for all of us in the city is if the governments continue to cut that money, then we've got no choice other than to reduce the services that we provide. Okay, if you look at this slide, slide 2, what I want to do with that is to just give you some indication of the amount of money that we spend on services that we provide within the city. And if you look at the bottom of that slide, in orange if you like, you'll see the figure of £174 million. Now, that's the amount of money that we pay as a city to run the services that we provide for adult social care within the city. That's £174 million. Now, if you compare that, of course, to the money that we get in from council tax, you'll see that it still leaves us a long way short of the amount of money. And if you look at both that and children's services, that is the money that we provide to run children's services, that includes the statutory things that we have to do, child protection issues, education welfare. If you look at the adoption services and fostering services, all of those things that we do, you'll actually see that costs us £108 million. Now, the bottom line is if you add those two services together, that actually more or less wipes out our full income that we receive from other income and also the council tax and the other services that we provide as well. If you just look at waste collection and disposal, even though we are introducing for a large chunk of houses within the city a fortnightly bin collection. It still costs us £35 million to run. Street cleansing, just to clean the streets, £8 million. And other services, £11 million. You can see the scale of the amount of money that we have to find in order to, just to actually run the services that everybody in the city is used to. The next slide is one that just actually, for me, also shows the problems that we face in Liverpool. You've heard me say about the problems that we face in terms of deprivation within the city. And that deprivation means that we have to pay more money on services. And this graph shows you that, child poverty, for instance, just alone, is 32%, 32.5% in Liverpool, and yet nationally it's only 20%. And of course, the higher levels of deprivation means that we should get more funding from central government to actually deal with those issues. But unfortunately, this government have just took an axe to funding to cities like Liverpool, and irrespective of the deprivation levels that we face, have just cut us in the same way as other cities in the north, and it's clearly put us at a greater disadvantage than cities down south. And on that point, if we look at this next slide, which is slide 4, which explains basically the council tax bands. If you look at the council tax bands, for instance, in Liverpool, and you compare it to areas down south, you'll see that Liverpool, for instance, Band A, which for us is the lowest council tax band, round about 61% of people pay council tax at the lowest level. And yet the average in England is around about 24%. Now that means that for instance, in the leafy suburbs and the London boroughs and down south, the property prices are valued so much higher than property prices in Liverpool that it puts them all in the top council tax band. So areas down south are actually millions and millions of pounds, tens of millions of pounds better off than Liverpool, simply because their properties are in higher council tax bands. And that puts us at a significant disadvantage. And also the fact that we have more people, around about 34%, that claim single person occupancy. That's people living in properties that claim single person occupancy. And again, that's about 16% higher that claim than other cities down south and across the country. And again, means that there's less council tax funding, less council tax money coming in. And then I just want to say to you as well, the final slide that I'm just showing you here is how your money also is not only just used to provide those services, but it also provides for the police service. It also provides for the fire service, and also the transport that we use in Liverpool, and also the waste disposal that we do. We have to pay money for instance, to send rubbish to landfill and that sort of thing. So a huge chunk of your money, and you can see there what is taken away from us and what we have to provide to run those services. Okay, I think I hope that's been useful in terms of emphasising, if you like, in a visual way, how tough the challenges are that we face. And I know that most people, most fair-minded people, once they see those facts and those figures which are given to you with honesty are things that you will understand, and you will also understand why we have to make some of those tough decisions that we've got to make. And for me, you know, there are the vast majority of people who understand that. Then there's those on the left and those on the right. Those on the left who will say to me, you know, set an illegal budget and don't make cuts. Well, the reality is, it's not me making the cuts. We're simply not being given the money by government. They're taking away 56%. So I've got no choice. I've just got to deal and run this city with that money being taken away from us. And that's the reality. And to those on the right who say, you know, well, we can cut more. Well, the fact of the matter is, we've lost 1,600 jobs. We've actually saved £176 million over the last 3 years. We've halved the management, and you can see the reduction in some of the services that you used to be able to see within the city. We've had to already make cuts. So there's £153 million more to come, but there is very little by way of fat. So I hope people understand that. But that said, you know, I just want to also make the point to you as well about, you know, what we're doing every single day to actually create opportunities, jobs and growth within the city. You know, in the last sort of 10 days, we've announced over 1,000 jobs. In actual fact, 1,400 jobs coming to the city. And, you know, for me, I think we need to take some comfort from the fact that, as well as facing those tough challenges, we're actually trying to create jobs and opportunities for our city, and we'll continue to do that. So I believe the city will get through these tough, challenging times, come out of it much, much stronger, but also creating a better Liverpool, not just for tomorrow, but for years to come, for you, but also for your children and for the grandchildren of this city. So just bear with us, trust us to get on and make the right decisions, and we'll keep you informed of the tough choices that we've got to make.